What's up, y'all? Welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, what's up? My name is Lexi, and welcome to my channel.
Look, I'm in love.
Hi, hello, how are y'all? Hope you're having a fantastic day, because as you should. I hope if you started school this week that you had a great first day back at school. I hope you're having a great week so far. I hope you've eaten something today, whether it's something small or something big. I hope you're drinking water, staying safe, and staying healthy. So for today's video, we are going to be doing, well, we're going to have a little talking video talking about my experience with my first year of college. Wasn't the best, not really, but that's okay. We're hoping for better things in the future, and that's all that matters. If you don't know, I am a sophomore, going to be a sophomore in college this year. So I graduated class of 2020. Whoa! So you already know, 2020 didn't really have a graduation due to the pandemic. So I spent my first year of college online. And y'all, it was very, very interesting. First off, I want to talk about my school experience in general. So basically, the school that I was attending was 2 miles. It was 2 hours away, which is fine. I had no problems with that at all. But everything there was complicated and very complicated. So between switching my major and all that good jazz and being online with the hands-on major, things are very different. So my first year, I learned the history behind my major, so that wasn't anything spontaneous. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about something completely different. Basically, it took them a whole semester to get my college transcript because I took dual credit with another university, and it took them a whole semester to get it because I was like, they already sent it to you guys, and they're like, oh well, we don't have it. And then I sent it via mail to the mailing address that they told me to, and they were like, oh well, we didn't get it, we don't check that mailbox, so I don't know why they told you that. And I was like, okay. She gave me a new address, sent it to there. She told me that it was unofficial because I printed it out, which that's fine. I didn't know any better, so I sent it a third time, and she said you could send it electronically if you want to. So I called the other university because they called me, and they were like, hey, we want to know why you keep paying for a transcript if you already have one. And I was like, well, they lost the first one, which was an official transcript. They said the second one was unofficial, and now I'm trying to send it via mail, via email. I'm trying to send it electronically. And he was like, oh, okay. And so I was telling him the school that I was attending and everything, and he was like, well, we don't have them on our roster. Can you talk to them and ask them for their like information for like the little website or whatever that they can send it electronically? And I was like, yeah, sure. So I called the lady, and she was like, well, I don't understand why they don't have us in their system because we have them in our system, and blah 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 this and blah 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 that. She's getting frustrated at me because they're not in their system. How is that my problem? Because I really don't know how that's my problem. But she was getting upset with me and all that stuff. And so she was like, you need to call them back and talk to them. I was like, ma'am, I just got off the phone with them. And they're like, she was like, well, then you need to call them back and da-da-da-da this and da-da-da-da. And I was like, all right, Miss Keisha. So I called them back, and so I told him what happened and that they didn't give me any information. He's like, okay, well, you can do it via email. If you do it via email, they have a passcode that protects it so no one can see your information. So I sent it to like the little transcript office, sending them the information code, like the access code or whatever. And I called the lady asking her did she receive it, and she was like, and these are different people every single time, so it's not just one lady. But she was like, oh, we can't accept it that way. I was like, why not? And so she's like, We just can't accept it that way because if we look at it like that, it'll be unofficial. And at this point, I'm hot. I'm livid. I'm heated. And so because there was a lot of stuff going on before this. Now that I think about it, I'm really telling all the story backwards. But whatever. So I said, ma'am, listen. I called the lady. I said, ma'am, listen. This is a different lady. I'm like, ma'am, listen. I'm struggling, okay? Because I'm trying to send y'all these transcripts. Y'all telling me that I have to come to the school when it's 2 hours away from my house. And y'all are not telling me all the information that I need. Y'all are not telling me what papers I need so I can receive financial aid even. And so I can do all this at once because I'm not receiving financial aid. I'm not receiving this. I'm not receiving that. And everything is hard on me because no one is helping me at all. No one's helping me at all. Y'all's solution is always to come up to the school. I live 2 hours away, and when I ask you, okay, if I come to the school, what documents do I need? No one can tell me. No one can tell me at all. They're just like, oh, you need this and you need that. When I send over the information when I send over the documents and the papers that y'all need, y'all say, okay, we don't need that anymore. We need this. And I'm like, ma'am, so really it's frustrating on me and my homegirls. And so she was like, sweetie, I'm so sorry. Let me help you out. She literally took the access code, printed out my document, and said, okay, it's official. Consider it official, and everything's fine now. I'm like, okay, now was that hard? Because it didn't have to be. Then I wasn't receiving financial aid. I did financial aid in October when we were still in school. So I had already did all that with my mom, with the counselor, right in front of my face. So I already did all that. And then the school was telling me how I needed additional information that I submitted through the FAFSA. So I'm like, why? And so she was like, oh, we just had to do it. So I'm like, oh, in my head, I'm like, why? They're like, okay, we just had to do it. So at the time, my mom was like, I don't feel like doing that right now. And it's information that I need from her. She did this, she said that, blah, 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 blah. And it was just all last minute stuff and that I had no control over. And then all of a sudden it was like, okay, well, we need to do it. And I was like, you think so? The year's almost over now. And so she was like, yeah, we need to do it. So I didn't receive financial aid because things were due at the last minute. When I tell you, when October came around last year, that stuff was in check no later than October 4th. Maybe October 3rd, because I was not playing games. And then going on to my counselors, every single one of my counselors quit. Every single one of them except one. The first counselor, I did everything with. I set up my classes, I switched my major with her, then I set up my classes again. She told me everything I needed to know about the major, and I was like, yeah, I want to do it. And she was like, okay, cool. And I was asking her information about the university I wanted to go to after I graduated from here and all of that stuff. This is just community college. And she's like, okay, well, everything's gonna be fine, everything's gonna be this and everything's gonna be that. And she was really helping me out, and I guess she quit due to COVID. And she was like, okay, this is my last day, I'm gonna send you over to this other counselor. I called that counselor to make sure that everything was in line and checked for the semester. And she was like, well, I'll give you a phone call at this time. And I said, okay. I literally missed her call by 1 minute. I tried to swipe it and it went away, and it was like, oh, missed call. So I called her back and she didn't answer. Then I called her little assistant, I guess, and she was like, well, she can take your call next week. Next week, I literally missed her by 1 minute, and she can't take my phone call. And she was like, no, she has other people on the line and all that stuff. And I was like, okay, that's understandable. That's fine. Then next week come around, and she talks to me for literally 2 minutes. 2 minutes, y'all, 2 minutes. She talks to me for 2 minutes, and then she's like, well, thank you, have a great day. And I'm like, so why couldn't she take me last week when I missed her call by a hair? Then, like, I want to say maybe 2 weeks later, she quits. And then she sends me to another counselor, and then that counselor, I introduced myself to that counselor, and she's quitting. They're like, okay, we're going to send you over to this counselor. She quits. That's 4 counselors already. They're like, okay, we're going to send you to this counselor. I didn't even introduce myself to the counselor. I sent her an email. A week goes by. She doesn't answer back, and I call the school, and they're like, oh, she quit. Like, okay, we're gonna send you to this counselor and all that stuff. And in my head, I'm like, is she gonna quit? But she rode with me, I want to say, from October to that last day of school. So, you know, she was pretty cool. I also understand that counselors can't get you in because there are other people who are having the same problem as you. They're at home, they're not at school, or they are at school and they're still having problems. I totally understand. But the problem with the school that I was attending is that it was very unorganized, and they weren't telling me the information that I needed. So if I did have to go to the school on a day that I could go to the school, they weren't giving me the information that I need. And the difference between the school that I was attending last year and the school that I'm attending this year is, one, it's closer. Two, it took literally less than a week for them to get everything in check. Like, I registered, received financial aid, got my ID picture, probably I'm gonna get my parking pass in the next couple of days, in 1 week. In less than a week, really 4 days. You see the difference between them and the other school. And literally, I sent my transcript from the school last year electronically to them, and they literally got there in 1 day. 1 day. 1 day. And now the school's sending me emails like, hey, it's almost time for school to start back. How come you haven't registered? How come you haven't done this? And how come you haven't done that? If you need help registering, call the school. I mean, they send me text messages and emails at least once a week. Textbooks. Why are they so expensive? I spent $300 on a textbook not to use it. Like, and I tried to return it. It was a new textbooks, and I got to keep it. I tried to return it to the school so they could give me my money back, and they were like, oh, it's past 30 days, sorry love. And I'm like, so I'm telling you right now, I know where it is. It's sitting in the box and everything. I didn't open it up because I didn't need it. And I was like, my mom was like, don't open it if you don't need it, and if you don't need it, send it back. Who is Zoom? Who is she? I want to say I use Zoom on a total of 2 hands, because I had like Zoom meetings with my counselors, then I had Zoom meetings for unnecessary tutorials that had nothing to do with what I was learning about. I joined the Zoom session just so I could have extra credit. I talked to my professor like one time, and she was like, you're doing really good in my class. You practically have 100. You don't need any help. And I'm like, thank you. So some advice I can give you if you are doing online school this year, whether it's by choice or your school is requiring, I recommend that you have discipline, because I've had friends and family members saying like, yo, I cannot do this online stuff. I'm distracted. I'm this and I'm that. Like, y'all, honestly, there was 2 different versions of me. There was like, okay, well, I'm gonna do 2 weeks of work so I can feel the pressure, because if I don't feel the pressure, I will get to the point where I'm just like super lazy, super laid back, and I will literally just look at my assignments and they won't get done. And then there's like the person that's like, I'm in the comfort of my own home. My parents are here. Everybody else is at home. So I can go visit them. I can make coffee. I can cook. I can look at YouTube. I can literally do anything I want to do in the comfort of my own home, whether that's sleep, take a bath, like one of those self-care baths. Like, for girls, y'all know what I'm talking about. One of those self-care bath bombs, shaving, scrubs, face mask, foot mask, them type of baths. And like, I can literally do that when I want to, and I don't have to sit here and do work. I can literally do work at the end of the year and pressure myself the last month of school and turn it all in. They're gonna give me 100. That was my mentality for a good 2 weeks, and then I was like, dude, I can't. The teachers are not gonna ride you like they do in high school, and if you are in high school, The teachers might not have the effort to ride you. Some of them might, some of them might not. Literally my last semester of my last couple like weeks of high school doing that online part, they didn't text me at all. I literally felt bad for one of my teachers because she was like, you guys can text me whenever you want, I'm always free. And I'm like, yeah, we know, we're at home, we're always free too. The teachers are not gonna ride you. They're really not. They're not gonna ride you, and they're just gonna tell you like, look, you can either do this or you don't. Do you want to graduate? If you want to graduate, then do it. If you don't, then just don't do it. Like, the choice is yours. Discipline yourself to take that time out of learning, whether you treat it like school or not. I treated my online school life like school, so I still remembering my period, like the timing of my high school schedule. I would literally work for 90 minutes and I would take a 15-20 minute break, work for 90 minutes, 15-20 minute break, 90 minutes, 15 to 20 minute break until 3 o'clock, until like 3 o'clock or whatever the case may be. I can also say, if you're doing online classes, like if you're all online this year, make sure you take care of yourself. Like literally make sure you take care of yourself. You do those bubble baths, you do a face mask, you wind down, you do whatever you need to do to take care of yourself, because it is mandatory. Because I've experienced getting caught up in my work and feeling like it has to be done, 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 and it's 2 weeks worth of work, sometimes 3 weeks worth of work, and I'm like, it has to get done, because if it doesn't, it's not going to be on time, it's good, and I'm going to fail, and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. I promise you, if it's not due tomorrow or at the end of the week, the work will still be there. Do not stress yourself out about school. Take care of yourself, please. Please drink water, have food. Well, alright y'all, that is it for this week's video. If y'all like this video, please give this video a big thumbs up, and also while you're down there, hit that subscribe button if you want to see more videos of me, and hit that bell icon to see if I post next Thursday like I'm supposed to. And if you want to be friends, go on coffee runs, go shopping with me. You can always follow me on my other socials so you can keep up with yours truly. And don't forget that your girl Lexi loves you. And yeah, bye y'all, see y'all next time. Bye.